Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you're really well. Thank you so much for joining me once again. It is Monday morning. I had quite a busy weekend. So I was in Ireland with Nathan. You might have seen the vlog. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to go and see it because it's one of my very favourites. And then I got back, and the next day I travelled down to Staffordshire for my sister's 40th birthday party. So my sister is a real fun-loving person. She loves a party just like me, and she always has a big party for her milestone birthdays. So for her 40th, she had a Gatsby-themed birthday party. So I went down for that Saturday afternoon, and I had to come back yesterday. So a very quick one night only celebration. Had to get back today because a very busy week leading up to Christmas, lots to do, lots of appointments in Edinburgh, so it was very quick, but we had a wonderful, wonderful time. It was so lovely to see everybody dressed up in their fine 1920s clothing. Everybody made a real effort, and I just love when you go to a party and everybody's dressed up. It's something very rare, and you just have a wonderful, fun time. Great, I love a party. I'm actually having a party this week at my house on Friday. Quite a lot of people coming, so that's one of the reasons why I had to get back, because I'm trying to organise catering and I need to go and buy all of my champagne and alcohol and everything, so that's one of the reasons why. And then I also have a lot of work to do, but yes, it's been fun. I really hope you enjoyed the vlog at Ballyfin. I'm so embarrassed about the audio. It's one of the worst audios that I've ever done, so I really do apologise, but I filmed the vlog in real time whilst we were there, and then we were leaving on Thursday, and before I left I wanted to make sure that the video was uploaded for that Thursday evening so that I could be on time with my schedule. And so I was really rushing to get it edited within 2 hours, and normally I check through, but I just assumed that everything was okay, and then I watched it back after it was uploaded and I was a little bit horrified at how terrible the sound was. So sincere apologies for that. What happens is, because the camera that I have, which is the Sony ZV-1, it's a beautiful camera and it's excellent, but it works the best on the tripod. Now when I'm filming vlogs where we're on the go and we're moving very quickly and I just want to film very and not in the moment, the Sony ZV-1 isn't great for that because the stabilization isn't the best, and if it's not on a tripod, it's very, very shaky and it will make you so sick. So I use my iPhone for filming like this. The microphone picks up the sound, but sometimes it doesn't always pick up the sound that well. So we had a little bit of quietness in the beginning, and then I forgot to add music into some parts, so it's just silent. A little bit of a disaster with the sound, but hopefully you got an essence of how beautiful Ballyfin is. Anyway, when I was getting the train home to Edinburgh yesterday from my sister's, I popped into the WH Smith where you can buy magazines, and my favourite newspaper and magazine for the weekend is the Financial Times Weekend. It's just filled with lovely, lovely things. So I got a copy of that for my journey home. And I read this article, and I've just got to share it with you because it just filled my heart with so much warmth, and I just thought everybody on YouTube will want to hear this beautiful story. So I'm going to read it to you. It's called How I Became Friends with a Robin, and it's by Tony Putman, who is a gardener. So I just thought that I'd open this episode with something really lovely and heartwarming. It made me it made me cry a little bit of a tear. So I'm going to read it to you now. One November morning, when I was digging up weeds in a client's garden, I was joined by an inquisitive robin. He played a bit of a cat and mouse game. He was happy to be near me as long as he thought I hadn't seen him. As soon as I looked his way, he was gone. It was the same when I tried to take his photo. Instead, I watched him indirectly out of the corner of my eye. I mentioned the encounter to my mum, and she gave me a bag of dried mealworms to take with me the next time I was there. She also told me that she'd spoken to my stepdad, and they'd decided to give me their camera, a Canon 300D with an 18 to 55mm lens. It's just gathering dust here, she said, so if you want it and can work out how to use it, it's yours. I thanked them for their generous gift. I was determined to master it, if only to take photos of my new friend. European robins are solitary, territorial birds, especially during the winter months, but late in winter they pair up to prepare for breeding during the spring. There were several robins in the garden where I worked, but I realised that the same one was coming to see me each time, thanks to the recognisable quiff on the back of his head where some of his feathers stuck out. So cute! At the same time, I was reading the camera's instruction manual over and over. During the next few months, I spent my spare time before and after work with the robin, whom I had imaginatively named Robin, and my camera. Robin got over his initial reticence and quickly learned to trust me. It wasn't long before he was happily taking food from my hand. Sometimes, instead of snatching it and flying away, he'd even perch there for a while. I was learning a lot about photography as well as about my new friend. I taught myself how to take action shots and post my photos of Robin to my Facebook page. I'm sure my friends and relatives must have been so fed up with all the Robin spam. I used the camera every single day, reading up on what I needed to know as I went along. My photos at this time were nothing special, but I was improving. I felt as if Robin was helping me. We were like a team, Robin and me. All this time I was growing more and more attached to him, and the feeling appeared to be reciprocated. He'd greet me when I turned up in the morning. He'd follow me around as I went about my work. He'd seek shelter with me and Pup, my border collie, in the mower shed when it rained. It was a magical experience. One day my mum and stepdad came to my workplace and I decided to introduce them to him. "Watch this," I said as I held out my hand. Sure enough, Robin came flying over from the shrub where he'd been perched to take the mealworm I was offering. I asked them if they'd like to have a go, and they did exactly as I had done, but Robin wouldn't come anywhere near them. It made me think about how we stereotype wild creatures in a way we wouldn't do with humans. I realised that they too have unique personalities which lead them to behave in different ways with different people, just as we do. We wouldn't behave towards someone we'd met for the first time the way we would with an old friend, though some of us might be more confident with strangers than others, so why should we expect it of an animal? Robin and I were friends. He would follow me around, whatever the weather. In the wind, the rain, the snow, and the sunshine, he was beside me. It was comforting to have his company as I struggled through the coldest days. A new year arrived, and in springtime, Robin found a mate. I knew they had their nest in the barn up in the rafters. I kept my distance, as I had read that any disturbance might cause them to abandon the nest or force their young to fledge early, but I was aware of them flying in and out. Robin would still hang around with me, keeping an eye on the results of my labours. I carried on offering him mealworms, but he spent a lot of time looking elsewhere for food for his family. When they had fledged, the garden became alive with new sounds as the youngsters flitted around in the hedges, calling to their parents for food. So spring kept both Robin and me busy. We would say hello and interact from time to time, then get on with our respective jobs. I consider myself to be a pragmatic person. I know nothing lasts forever. I remember vividly the last time I saw Robin and how, somehow, I knew that I wouldn't see him again. It was early summer, and the young had all gone their own way. I hadn't given a thought to what Robin might do next. I was working on a flower bed when he flew over to me. As it was on the opposite side of the garden to his territory, I was surprised to see him there. He sat close to me for about 30 minutes. He wouldn't take any food. He just watched what I was doing. It was as if he was taking everything in, wanting something to remember. I looked at him and said, "You're going to leave, aren't you?" I never saw him again after that. I looked and I listened for him, but he was gone. His absence really hit me, no doubt about it. I felt bereft. I had no reason to think anything bad had happened to him. It was more likely that he'd simply moved on, but I missed him so much. But he had left me with a special gift, one that opened my eyes even wider to the world around me. My newfound passion for photography. I discovered that I was at peace when I was using my camera. Every negative thought, every problem was blocked out when I was thinking about my next shot. By the time winter was underway, Robin was just a memory, and then a new robin took up residency in the same territory. I just loved that story. It's so sweet. A sweet little robin and his friend, the gardener. And this is an extract from Tony Putman's Bob the Robin. So I will link that in the description box. But I just thought that was the most lovely story. A little robin who learns to trust this lovely man, and they develop this friendship, but he has to go and move on with his life. And it just hit me in the heart, and I wanted to share it with you all. And I just think at this time of year, Christmas can be seen as a time when it's all about consuming, buying, spending all your money, but it's really about love. And I just loved that little story of love, friendship, and what's really valuable in the world. I mean, that friendship was cost nothing, but it meant so much to both of them. And yeah, wow, getting me a bit emotional. I just loved it, so I wanted to share that very special thing with you all, and I hope that it has brought you a little bit of a moment of joy. So I thought it would be fun for us to make my favourite festive drink together, eggnog. I only make this at Christmas time, so it is a real treat. I'm adding 4 egg yolks to a bowl with some superfine or caster sugar, and then I'm going to whisk these together until they are pale and fluffy and just golden. This will create a really velvety, smooth eggnog. Then I am going to heat some milk in a pan on top of the hob. You want to make sure that you don't let this boil at all. It just needs to gently warm. To the milk, I'm going to add double cream and a mixture of cinnamon and nutmeg and vanilla extract. I will then just very gently warm this through until it becomes thick before adding in the egg mix that we made at the very beginning. This is a slow process. You need to take it easy. Do not let the milk boil at all. It just needs to gently warm, and you'll have the most beautiful eggnog. If you make sure that you let it gently warm, you're not going to get scrambled eggs. It will turn out to be something very beautiful. And then once you have let this warm a little bit, you can make the meringue for the top of your eggnog. So you add your egg whites to a mixer, and you add some superfine or caster sugar to the bowl and whisk until you have stiff peaks. This is a great little snowdrop to add on top of your eggnog and just makes it that extra more delicious. And then just pouring it from the pan into a milk pan so that it's easier to transfer to a glass. For one final touch, I'm adding some rum, which makes this even more beautiful and delicious, but you can skip this part if you want to share this with your children or with your family. I will pour our eggnog into a beautiful glass before topping it with a delicious heavenly meringue, and then I will dust the top with some nutmeg. This is a truly wonderful festive drink that I just love at this time of year. So, I really wanted to share something very special with you. You may remember a few weeks ago I did a collaboration with my very good friend, the artist Jonathan Freemantle. He is an Edinburgh-based artist. He's from South Africa, and he's done quite a lot with me over the years. He painted my large portrait, and I've got a few of his works here. So he does a thing called the Daily Studies, where he paints a painting every day and sells them on his website, and I've bought quite a few of them. And I thought a few months ago it would be so fun if we did a collection together where he paints some beautiful pieces of work that represent my home and my life. And I released them a few weeks ago, and they sold out within like 2 days. One of the comments that I saw a lot from the last drop that we did together was everybody wanted Sophie to be part of this collaboration. So they were disappointed there wasn't a picture of Sophie. And if I'm very honest, I just didn't think that anybody would want to have a painting of my dog, even though she's on YouTube with me all the time and she's become a part of your lives as well. I just didn't even think that anybody would want a painting of Sophie. But after reading all of the comments, it became clear that perhaps we should have included one of Sophie. So, because the last collection was so successful and everybody loved it, and a lot of people messaged me to say that they'd missed out, I thought that we would, for Christmas, do another special set of paintings. And that is exactly what we've done. So Jonathan has created 5 beautiful original oil paintings on Belgian linen, and they are presented in the artist's wooden frame. And I'm very pleased to show you that the first one is of my little Sophie. I'm not sure how much you can see back there, but we have this gorgeous painting of Sophie in the Cotswolds. This is at a place called Buckland Manor. It's one of our favourite places to go. We go there in the summertime and they do a lovely afternoon tea in the garden, and that is where this moment was captured. In the summer, in the Cotswolds, having afternoon tea with Sophie. Could that be a nicer sentence? So this is a lovely, lovely painting of my darling, and if you would like to have a piece of Sophie for your home, then you can with this painting. I think it is quite sweet. So that is little Sophie. Then we have another tea moment. Obviously tea is a huge thing in my life. So we have this one. This one is actually, this is a scene from my courtyard garden here in Edinburgh. Again, this was this past summer. I baked these brownies and put some cream and raspberries on there, and we had a cup of tea, and then my candle burning in the background, my silver teapot with a lovely ribbon tied around the handle. So that is another lovely moment from the summer in my courtyard garden, having a lovely cup of tea. I love this one. This one's my favourite, except for the ones of Sophie, of course. Then, to make sure that nobody misses out, we have another Sophie painting. This one is from the garden opposite our home. We have communal gardens, and this was in the springtime when the blossom had just bloomed and everything was coming back to life. Quite hard to imagine if you're in the northern hemisphere now, we're in the depths of winter. But this was a lovely, lovely moment out in the garden. Sophie loves being outside, especially in warmer weather. It's quite difficult to coax her out of the house nowadays with the rain and the cold. But yeah, under the blossom tree, Sophie enjoying the flourishes of spring. And yes, this is quite a sweet painting as well. Then here we've got quite a lovely moment at the Goring Hotel in London, probably one of my favourite hotels. It is a favourite of the royal family, especially the late Queen Elizabeth II, who used to go there for lunch and dinner. Every Christmas she famously went to the Goring and she would be pictured outside with the general manager. This is a moment in the suite there when Nathan and I stayed. We had a cup of tea, there were some flowers on the side, and just a lovely, lovely painting of the suite. That's a quite beautiful interior scene if you missed out on the last ones. And then finally, the very last painting is of a boy in his courtyard garden. You may recognise this boy. He's familiar to most of you. Another summer moment in the garden, pottering around with terracotta pots and baskets and beautiful things in the gorgeous weather. We had the most wonderful summer in Edinburgh, quite different to what we usually get, so everybody really enjoyed being outside. And I think I wanted to make this drop about the pleasures of summer. Even though we're in winter, I thought it would be very nice to look back at the summer that we had and capture these moments with Jonathan. So yeah, those are my paintings, my new collection. I will link them in the description box for you so that you can check them out. But these all come in the artist's hardwood frame. They're painted on Belgian linen, and you will get a certificate of authentication. I can never say the word authentication from both Jonathan and me. It will be signed. In fact, I can show you that now because I have some ready. So this is the certificate that you get. It is printed on a lovely card, and it tells you the piece of artwork, the year, and it's signed by me there, and also Jonathan signs it as well. So that is quite a nice thing. It just proves that it's authentic. Jonathan is really making waves in the art industry. He is constantly doing sold-out shows, and all of his work he's so talented. I mean, he can do portraits, he can do abstract painting, he can do little still lifes. He's so talented. And I think it's a lovely thing to own a piece of artwork by him. So yes, that is my little exciting news for this episode, and I will pop the link to my online store in the description box for you. So you get the painting in the hardwood frame and the certificate of authentication. Well, look what I have, my eggnog. Honestly, this is so delicious. You have to try it. It's actually very dessert-like. And you can drink it cold. In fact, I think that's the original way, but I liked mine warm. I just think it's better warm. It's more heartwarming, I would say. Oh my gosh. And I will pop this recipe on my Substack. So the link to that will be in the description box. You can follow it along there. It's really great because you'll get to be able to print it out if you like to print things out. I love printing things out nowadays. It's just easier to follow along, and you can make notes, and then I can file them away in my folders. So yeah, I will pop this on my Substack for you to enjoy for yourselves. It is so easy, but so satisfying and delicious. Alright everybody, that is all I have time for on today's Christmas vlog. I'm really enjoying doing these Christmas vlogs. They're so cozy and heartwarming. I hope you've enjoyed this episode with the lovely story of the robin, making eggnog, and my lovely new paintings with Jonathan. Do check them out. The link is in the description box and also in the top comment. I hope you have a really lovely week, whatever you're doing, and I will see you next time. But until then, do take care.